There are moments when the world feels like a silent judge, its eyes fixed upon you, its whispers heavy in the air. In such moments, many shrink, bowing to the imagined verdict of others. But Ralph Waldo Emerson, a man who walked unshaken through storms of doubt, left behind lessons forged in the furnace of his darkest hours. These are not gentle words, they are iron truths. And if you dare to hear them, you may never fear another soul again. Most people live not by their own will, but by the will of those they fear. Bosses, critics, strangers, even loved ones. They speak with borrowed words, act with borrowed courage, and wonder why their lives feel like a shadow. Today we solve this. We will learn through the darkest power lessons of Emerson how to tear the mask from fear, stand unshaken, and live as though no man holds power over you. You stand at the crossroads of your own life, yet you find yourself glancing sideways, waiting for a nod, a smile, a whispered yes from someone else before you dare to take a step. You feel the weight of their eyes on your back. Parents, friends, bosses, strangers whose opinions you've never even asked for. And though your heart beats with a quiet urgency, you hesitate. Why? Because deep down, you have been taught to believe that your worth is only as good as someone else's approval. This is the invisible chain that keeps most people bound all their lives. Emerson saw it and he shattered it. He believed, no, he knew, that the greatest prison we inhabit is not made of iron bars, but of borrowed thoughts and secondhand courage. To live for approval is to live on a leash. It is to hand the steering wheel of your life to anyone loud enough to command your attention. You think you are choosing your path, but in truth, you are walking the trail others have cleared for their own comfort, not yours. Emerson would tell you, the soul does not knock on another man's door to ask permission to exist. The oak tree does not consult the flowers before it reaches for the sky. The eagle does not seek a committee vote before it spreads its wings over the valley. You, the living, breathing miracle that you are, were not placed on this earth to wait in line for validation slips. Yet how often do we measure our worth in applause? We look into the eyes of others as if they were mirrors that could show us who we truly are. If they smile, we rise. If they frown, we shrink, and so we become puppets, not people. Emerson's darkest lesson here is that the world will never stop trying to own you. Society is a skilled tailor. It will measure you, cut you down, and fit you into a garment of expectation. And if you let it, you will wear it until you die, having never known what it meant to stand in your own skin. Self-reliance is the rebellion against this silent tyranny. It is not arrogance. It is not defiance for the sake of defiance. It is the deep recognition that the only compass worthy of guiding your life is the one buried in your own chest. And that compass, when you learn to trust it, will take you places the crowd is too afraid to tread. But here's the hard truth. Self-reliance will cost you. It will cost you comfort because comfort lives in conformity. It will cost you applause because applause is reserved for those who perform the script others have written. It will cost you the warmth of the herd because the herd moves as one and you will be walking alone. But in exchange, you will gain something rarer, something untouchable, the power to wake each morning knowing you belong to no one but yourself. Emerson understood that approval is a fickle currency. Today, they cheer, tomorrow they jeer. If you live for their cheers, you will die by their jeers. Approval is a moving target, and the more you chase it, the more it slips away. But self-reliance plants your feet on solid rock. The storms can come, the winds can howl, and still you will stand because your foundation is not in them. It is in you. Think of the moments in your life when you were most alive, most lit from within. Were they not the moments when you acted from a place of truth, even when no one agreed, even when every voice around you said you were wrong? That fire you felt, that was self-reliance. It was your soul reminding you that it has always known the way. And yes, the world will resist you. People will call you stubborn, reckless, arrogant. They will try to bend you back into shape because your independence makes them question their own chains. But every great soul who has walked this earth has been called such names. Emerson himself was no stranger to scorn, but he wore it like armor, knowing that the disapproval of the crowd is often the first proof that you are finally living your own life. Self-reliance is the only true freedom. It means you no longer wait for the gate to be opened. You realize there was never a gate at all. It means your joy is no longer held hostage by the mood of the masses. It means your dreams do not need to be stamped with the seal of public opinion before they are worthy of pursuit. Because the truth Emerson knew in his bones, is that every time you ask for permission to be yourself, you hand away a piece of your soul. And once enough pieces are gone, there is nothing left to live for. But the moment you choose self-reliance, the moment you say, I will be my own approval, you gather those pieces back one by one until you stand whole again. There is a strange trick the mind plays on us when fear enters the room. It takes an ordinary man, no taller than yourself, no stronger than yourself, no wiser than yourself, and paints him in the colors of a giant. His voice grows louder in your ears, his presence heavier in your chest, until you forget that he is made of the same flesh and breath as you. This is the illusion of power, not the power someone truly holds, but the power you have unknowingly given them. Emerson saw this clearly, and he warned that most fear is not born from reality, but from the theater of our own minds. Picture a shadow on the wall. In the flicker of dim light, it stretches tall and monstrous, and your heart quickens. But step closer, and you find it is nothing more than the outline of something small, a chair, a tree branch, a harmless object. So it is with the people you fear. Your distance from them, your lack of knowledge about them, allows your mind to imagine greatness where there is only commonness. You stand at the edge of this illusion, trembling, when in truth you could walk right through it. Emerson understood that human beings are masters of projection. We project our insecurities onto others, and in doing so, we make them appear more powerful. If you doubt your own voice, you will think another's voice carries authority. If you question your worth, you will think another's confidence is superiority. If you feel small inside, you will assume the world towers over you. This is not reality. It is fear's artful lie. The truth is, every man you fear wakes up with the same uncertainty, wrestles with the same doubts, and carries the same fragile mortality as you. Strip away the titles, the uniforms, the wealth, and you will find the same trembling soul, hungry for meaning, desperate for belonging, afraid of being exposed as ordinary. The emperor is often wearing no clothes, but we are too blinded by our own awe to notice. Fear thrives on distance. The more you keep someone on a pedestal, the larger they loom. But draw near, speak to them. See them up close, and the spell begins to break. You hear the hesitation in their words, you see the small cracks in their armor. You recognize the human in them, the one you had forgotten was there. And once you see them as human, the illusion of their power over you dissolves. But here is the dangerous part. Some people know this illusion exists and work tirelessly to maintain it. They dress themselves in symbols of authority. They speak with crafted certainty. They surround themselves with spectacle to keep you at a distance. Emerson would tell you, they are merchants of fear and you are their currency. The moment you stop believing in their grandeur, their market collapses. Fear magnifies shadows, but it is your own light that casts them. This means the power was never in them. It was in your perception all along. By lowering your own self-worth, you raise theirs. By questioning your own ability, you inflate theirs. And so the chains you feel are not locked around your wrists by their hands. They are tied there by your own. Think of the people you once feared, a teacher, a boss, a figure in your community. At the time, their opinion felt like law, their words like verdicts. But now, with distance, you see them differently. You realize their power was conditional. It existed only within the frame of your belief. Step outside that frame and they are simply another person passing through the world, as temporary and fallible as anyone else. Emerson's darkest insight here is that fear does not just distort how you see others. It distorts how you see yourself. When you place someone above you, you must first place yourself below. And that is the true tragedy of this illusion. It requires you to shrink in order for it to exist. But the moment you recognize the trick, the magic disappears. You begin to see that no man can stand taller than your spirit unless you stoop to make it so, that the faces you fear are mirrors reflecting back the strength you have forgotten, that the giants in your life were never giants at all, only shadows dancing on the wall, waiting for you to turn on the light. We often imagine courage as a single blazing act, the soldier charging into battle, the activist standing before a crowd, the lone voice that dares to speak truth to power. And yes, those moments are courage, but they are not where courage is born. Emerson understood that real boldness is not the lightning strike we see in an instant. It is the fire quietly tended day after day, choice after choice, until it becomes part of the soul. Courage is not summoned in a crisis. It is practiced in the ordinary, in the unnoticed moments, long before the world ever demands it of you. It begins in the small decisions, the ones so unremarkable that no one will ever clap for them. It is in the moment you speak when silence would have been easier, when you say no to something you know is wrong, though every voice around you says yes. It is in the day you decide to take the harder path, the one without guarantees, because your spirit refuses to settle for comfort over truth. Courage lives there, in the habits of integrity, in the constant training of your will to choose what is right over what is safe. You cannot simply wake up one morning untested and expect to stand firm when life shakes you. Emerson would tell you, courage must be built like muscle. You must lift the weight of small risks daily, so that when the great burden comes, your soul is strong enough to bear it. The man who has never spoken up in a meeting will not speak up in the courtroom. The woman who has never challenged her own fear will not challenge the fear in others. Boldness is not born in the moment of crisis. It is revealed there. The truth is, discipline is the soil in which courage grows. Without it, bravery is a fleeting impulse, here today, gone tomorrow. Discipline means showing up to your own life every day with the intention to stand a little taller, to step a little further, to trust yourself a little more. It means facing the small discomforts willingly, because they are the drills that prepare you for the storms. Just as the sailor learns the ropes in calm waters before braving the tempest, so too must the soul learn boldness in the quiet before it can stand in the chaos. And here is what many get wrong. They wait for courage to feel natural before they act. But courage is never comfortable in the beginning. It shakes your hands, quickens your breath, makes your heart pound as though it wishes to escape. Emerson would say that this discomfort is proof that you are stretching beyond the walls you have built for yourself. To wait for the fear to disappear before acting is to wait forever. Courage is doing the thing while the fear still clings to you. It is the choice to move forward when standing still would be easier. Day by day, choice by choice, you carve this boldness into yourself. Each act of courage, no matter how small, leaves a mark on your soul. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, carry yourself differently. You no longer flinch when opposition appears. You have faced enough small storms to know you can weather the great ones. And in time, courage becomes less of a conscious effort and more of a reflex. You do the hard thing not because you think about it, but because it has become who you are. The world will test you, not once, but over and over. There will be moments when everything in you will want to turn back, to retreat to the safety of silence or inaction. And yet, if you have made courage a daily discipline, you will find that you cannot turn back. Your soul will refuse to shrink. You will feel that inner command that says, this is what you were trained for. And you will step forward, not because the fear is gone, but because you have learned to walk through it. In Emerson's view, courage was never a grand performance for an audience. It was the steady, unseen labor of becoming someone who could stand unshaken when it mattered most. The courage you practice in the quiet builds the strength you will need in the storm. And when the moment comes, and it will, you will not have to search for bravery, for it will already be living in you. Woven into every choice you have made along the way, there comes a moment in every life when the road divides. One path lit by truth, the other dimmed by fear. And in that moment, the choice you make will outlive you. Emerson understood this with an unshakable clarity. The man who chooses truth steps into something larger than himself, something that does not end when his body fades. But the one who bends, who trades principle for safety, disappears twice. Once in life, when he betrays himself, and once in memory, when history forgets his name. Principle is not convenience. It does not change with the weather or bend with the wind. It is the iron in the spine, the unspoken covenant between a man and his soul. To hold to it, especially when it costs you, is to write your name in the ledger of eternity. Long after the voices of the age fall silent, the echo of your stand will remain. Emerson would tell you, truth is older than nations and stronger than armies. It has no need of your defense, yet it calls you to defend it, because in defending it, you discover who you truly are. But here lies the test. Truth will not always come dressed in beauty or comfort. More often, it will come wrapped in danger, promising loss before it promises gain. To stand for it is to invite the disapproval of the crowd, the wrath of the powerful, and the loneliness of the outnumbered. Yet it is precisely in that fire that a man is refined. Those who bow to fear may feel safe in the moment, but but they have already begun to vanish. Safety can shield the body for a season, but it cannot give life to the soul. Think of the names that endure across centuries, not because they were the richest, the most popular, or the most powerful in their time, but because they refused to betray their principles. Socrates chose death over dishonor. Lincoln held the Union together when it meant standing against half his own country. Every age has its examples, men and women who stood so firmly in the light of truth that the darkness could not erase them. They are remembered because their courage was not for sale. Fear, on the other hand, is a thief. It robs a man not only of his moment, but of his legacy. When you yield to it, you may preserve your position, your possessions, your peace, for now. But history has no room for those who lived only to protect themselves. Their lives pass like smoke, leaving no trace. Emerson would say that the soul of such a man is already dead long before his heart stops beating, for he has severed himself from the eternal by clinging to the temporary. Principle connects you to something infinite. When you choose to stand for truth, you align yourself with the same force that shaped the stars and holds the oceans in place. You step into a story that began long before you were born and will continue long after you are gone. And in that story, your stand becomes a beacon. Maybe small, maybe unseen in your lifetime, but capable of guiding others when their own crossroads appear. It is tempting to think that principles are flexible, that they can be bent just a little to suit the moment, that compromise can be harmless if it is quiet enough. But every time you betray what you know to be right, you place one more stone on the grave of your own soul. And every time you stand firm, even when the cost is high, you breathe life into something that will outlast you. The immortality of principle is not about being celebrated in books or statues. It is about being able to stand before your own conscience, unashamed, knowing you did not trade the eternal for the immediate. It is about walking through the storms of life with your head unbowed because you serve truth, not fear. It is about leaving behind a trail, however faint, that others may follow when the night around them grows too dark. Emerson's darkest wisdom here is that eternity does not belong to those who simply live long. It belongs to those who live right. And in the end, it is better to walk with truth alone than to march with a crowd built on lies. For the crowd will crumble and vanish, but truth will remain, carrying the names of those who would not betray it when the dust of life settles and the noise of the world grows silent. It will not be the opinions of others, the size of your fears, or the comfort of your compromises that remain. What will stand is the strength you built in self-reliance, the clarity you found in seeing through the illusion of power in others, the boldness you forged through daily discipline, and the eternal mark you left by standing for truth. Emerson's darkest power lessons were not meant to make you hard for hardness' sake. They were meant to make you unshakable, so that no man could own you, no fear could master you, and no passing shadow could turn you from your path. For in the end, the measure of a life is not how safely it was lived, but how fiercely it was claimed by the one who dared to live it fully.